For fans of the Los Angeles Lakers, the air around the team's practice facility on Monday felt charged with anticipation, almost like the beginning of a new season all over again. LeBron James, the legendary leader of the franchise and the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, finally returned to training after weeks away, bringing a fresh wave of optimism to a fan base eager to see him on the court again. It was not just another routine practice. It was the moment many supporters had been waiting for, a signal that his long-awaited season debut could arrive as soon as Tuesday night. According to the team's medical report released on Monday evening, James is officially listed as questionable for the matchup against the Utah Jazz, but his presence in training has already sparked hope that the King might soon reclaim his throne. If LeBron steps onto the floor this Tuesday, he will become the first player in NBA history to play an astonishing 23 seasons. That achievement alone would further solidify his legacy, and Lakers fans know they might be witnessing a record that will stand for generations. The schedule could work in his favor too. After Tuesday's game, the Lakers do not play again until Sunday, giving him valuable time to rest and recover. During interviews, James made it clear that his decision will depend entirely on how his body responds over the next 24 hours. "I'm just trying to feel like myself again," he said, offering a glimpse into the mindset of a veteran who understands his body better than anyone. "I need to see how everything reacts. That's what will determine the next step." At 40 years old, James had not practiced with the Lakers since late September, when he dealt with a bout of sciatica right before training camp began. As a result, he missed the season opener for the first time in his entire career, a moment that felt unusual not only for him but for every follower of Lakers basketball. After a long 5-game stretch on the road for the team, James finally rejoined his teammates in Los Angeles, though he acknowledged that returning to game shape will still take work. With characteristic humor, he said that his lungs now feel like those of a newborn, emphasizing the need to rebuild his conditioning. His voice, he added, had already faded after a full day of shouting instructions on the court. "I need to make it work again," he joked. "I'll drink a lot of tea tonight and get plenty of rest. Feels good to be around the guys again. I really missed them." James revealed that he first felt sciatica symptoms 2 years ago during preseason, and those issues returned this year, complicating his preparation. On top of that, he also suffered a knee ligament sprain during the Lakers' playoff loss to Minnesota this past spring, delaying his off-season training program by nearly 2 months. "Not long after June, I started feeling hip and back discomfort," he explained. "Everything kind of shifted. My whole routine had to change. In a way, it ended up being a blessing in disguise." When asked if he was completely pain-free, James responded, "I wouldn't go that far." He then added, with sincerity, that anyone who has dealt with sciatica understands how unpredictable it can be. Some days you wake up and feel fine. Other days you lie in bed hoping the pain won't flare up. Still, he has remained positive and focused on the mobility exercises and techniques that could help him navigate the season. Last week, James ramped up his activities by joining the South Bay Lakers, the organization's G League team, participating in his first full 5-on-5 workout since the spring. His return to the main Lakers squad on Monday was a welcome moment for head coach J.J. Redick, who called it great to finally have him with the group. In fact, Redick noted that it was the first time all 14 players were available for the same practice. That alone, he said, made the atmosphere electric. The Lakers have opened the season with an impressive 10 wins and 4 losses, battling through numerous injury setbacks. They currently sit 4th in the Western Conference standings heading into Tuesday's matchup, a strong position that has given fans even more reason to dream about what lies ahead once James is fully reintegrated. Luka, Dončić and Austin Reeves have stepped up as prolific scorers despite dealing with their own injury absences, while newly acquired big man DeAndre Ayton has quickly become a major presence in the paint. James lit up while talking about his teammates. "I miss these guys," he said with a smile. "Just seeing them go to work. Man, I love the process. The only thing I don't miss is the traveling. I'm about to turn 41. I was happy at home on my couch relaxing after workouts, but I sure miss the competition and these guys." Both James and Redick share complete confidence that he will fit into any role required once he returns. James has already expressed excitement about running pick-and-roll plays with Ayton and setting up scoring chances for Dončić. Still, he knows that a transition period will be necessary. "I have to ease my way back in," he explained. "It's like being the new kid in school. Their chemistry is great, so I'll take it step by step and let it all happen naturally. It shouldn't be difficult, but it will be an adjustment." For Lakers fans, the wait for his comeback has felt long, but now, with every sign pointing toward his return, excitement is building rapidly. Tuesday night could mark the beginning of another chapter in Lakers history. One written by a player who continues to redefine what longevity means in the modern NBA. Whether he plays immediately or takes a few more days, one thing is clear. LeBron James is back and the journey with him is far from over. For longtime Lakers faithful, his return means more than just another star on the roster. It symbolizes hope, resilience, and the possibility of one more unforgettable run. Fans remember the previous championship and believe that with James healthy, anything is still possible. The story of this season is only beginning to unfold, and his presence could ignite something special. Even though the team has performed well without him, there is a sense that his leadership and experience are the missing pieces that could push Los Angeles to even greater heights. He could guide them through adversity, inspire younger players, and deliver the kind of intensity that defines championship teams. Lakers supporters know that every game with James on the court feels like an event, and they will be watching closely as the next decision arrives. The atmosphere surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers has shifted drastically since LeBron James stepped back into practice, and the anticipation has continued to build among both fans and players. The second day after his return was filled with cautious optimism, careful observation, and renewed focus on how his presence could reshape the identity of the team. Although James remains officially listed as questionable, the energy within the organization suggests that his season debut might be closer than expected. Every movement he made during training was followed closely by coaching staff, medical personnel, and even teammates who quietly watched for any signs of discomfort, or even better, flashes of vintage brilliance. The Lakers have learned to operate without him during this early stretch, but the hope of his reintegration has produced a collective boost, something that statistics cannot fully capture. For many fans in Los Angeles, James' return symbolizes more than just an extra scoring option. It is the return of leadership, guidance, and veteran experience that could elevate the roster's confidence in critical moments. Young players feel a different kind of motivation when they know they are sharing the court with a future Hall of Famer. Even veterans on the team admit that his presence brings an intensity that elevates the standard of training. Those who witnessed his first day back described it as focused, quiet, and tactical. Nothing showy, just solid work from a player who knows how to prepare himself. Inside the Lakers facility, head coach J.J. Redick has been methodically tracking James' workload. Redick has emphasized structure, communication, and discipline in his first season as Lakers head coach, and now he faces his most interesting challenge yet: how to integrate one of the greatest players of all time into a group that has already developed chemistry without him. Redick told reporters that he plans to avoid rushing the process. "We'll see how he feels after another night of recovery," he noted. "He knows his body better than anyone. Our job is to respect that and make sure the timing is right." The Lakers' medical staff has echoed this approach. With James nearing 41 years of age, managing his minutes and carefully monitoring his lower back and hips will be critical to preserving him for the long season ahead. Whether he plays against Utah or waits until Sunday, every recovery step will matter. The team's trainers have been preparing specialized routines focused on mobility, posture, breathing mechanics, and core stability, areas specifically designed to help athletes dealing with sciatica. James has embraced these sessions with professionalism, though he admitted they require patience. He compared the training process to rebuilding a foundation brick by brick. "Nothing is instant," he said. "At this stage, every decision has to be intentional." Fans have reacted strongly to his comments, especially when he spoke about his voice fading after a single day of coaching others on the court. Many supporters saw that as evidence of genuine commitment. He was not just returning to practice, he was mentoring, guiding, and trying to contribute before even playing a minute. Social media ignited with support, memes, predictions, and debates over whether Tuesday should be the day of his return. Some argued that resting until Sunday would be wiser, while others insisted that the emotional spark of his comeback against Utah might be exactly what the Lakers need to energize the home crowd. No matter the decision, tickets for both games began to surge in resale markets, with many fans eager to witness what could become a historic night. Even opposing players have shared their respect. Members of the Utah Jazz acknowledged the possibility of facing James once again, noting the unique challenge of preparing for someone who has adapted his play style year after year. Multiple Jazz players privately mentioned that guarding James never becomes easier, it simply becomes different. He has transformed from a fast-breaking athletic marvel into a tactical playmaker who uses timing, positioning, body control, and vision to impact games without relying solely on explosive speed. That evolution has kept him at the top level for 2 decades. The question now is whether his body will allow him to add one more season to his extraordinary journey. Within the Lakers' locker room, everyone seems ready for his return. Luka Dončić, still adjusting to life in Los Angeles after his blockbuster arrival, spoke about the freedom that James provides to teammates. "He makes the game simpler," Dončić said. "I can trust that he sees the floor the same way I do. That changes everything." Austin Reeves echoed those feelings, saying that James' presence brings clarity to rotations, spacing, and offensive timing. "He's one of those guys who just makes things click," Reeves noted. New center DeAndre Ayton has also expressed excitement about running pick and rolls with James. The two have already worked on timing during practice sessions, testing how Ayton's screening range can create shooting pockets for teammates. Ayton, who has quickly become a powerful interior force for the Lakers, praised James' decision-making, especially in tight spaces near the rim. "He sees angles before they happen," Ayton said. "That's what great players do. They see things in 3 dimensions." Redick plans to use their partnership strategically, potentially staggering minutes so that James can anchor second units when needed while also closing games alongside the core starters. What remains most important, according to team insiders, is maintaining rhythm while also incorporating James' veteran presence. Finding that balance will require trust and patience. Scottish-born assistant trainer Michael Drummond, who specializes in biomechanics, has been helping James with low-impact routines adapted for older athletes. These include controlled stretches, vibration therapy, water-resistant sessions, and posture realignment to relieve nerve pressure. While their methods might sound scientific to the average fan, Drummond compared them to simple maintenance on a high-performance engine. You don't wait for it to fail, you check every part while it's still running. James has also spent time with the team's nutrition staff, refining his meal plan to reduce inflammation and aid joint recovery. Sources indicate that his diet now includes increased hydration cycles and carefully arranged protein and antioxidant consumption to complement treatment. Fans have noticed that James often speaks about recovery strategies, particularly in recent years. That openness has helped younger athletes across the league understand how to deal with aging, pain, and long seasons. His decision to continue playing at nearly 41 proves that his passion for the sport remains strong. For Lakers supporters, that dedication is inspiring. It signals that every ounce of effort is being made to maximize the team's potential this season. The entire organization understands that James' return, though thrilling, must be handled carefully. Every minute on the floor, every practice session, and every recovery routine will determine how far the Lakers can go this year. Yet through it all, there is optimism, quiet, cautious, but undeniably powerful. The franchise believes it can make a serious playoff push. The city believes it too. And now, with LeBron James closer to his comeback than ever, the excitement continues to grow by the hour. This may be the moment the season truly begins. While speculation continues to circulate around whether LeBron James will step on the court against the Utah Jazz, the energy inside the Lakers facility remains intense and focused. The players have begun treating each practice like a crucial building block toward something greater, with James' presence serving as both motivation and guidance. His movements remain measured, deliberate, and controlled, signs of a veteran player taking the right approach to return without risking a setback. J.J. Redick and the coaching staff have prepared two parallel strategies, one with James in the lineup and one without him, just in case the medical report still advises caution by game time. However, even if he waits until Sunday, his return to training alone has already reshaped the atmosphere around the franchise. For Lakers fans, it feels as though the season has entered a new phase, a transitional moment where hope is slowly turning into expectation. James' experience, discipline, and leadership are once again becoming central pillars around which the team's strategy can be built. His words continue to resonate around the locker room. "I'll readjust slowly. I want things to flow naturally." The Lakers' impressive 10-4 start has allowed them to operate from a position of strength, rather than desperation. That has given them the freedom to integrate James carefully, minimizing pressure and avoiding rushed decisions. The team's strategy revolves around a core belief: longevity is more important than urgency. Lakers executives understand that the real objective is not just an early season win, but sustained success leading into the playoffs. This mindset has been embraced by the players, who have grown confident in their chemistry even without James on the court. Luka Dončić has emerged as an unexpected leader, steadily taking control in late-game situations. Austin Reaves has shown maturity beyond his years, reading defensive coverages with increasing intelligence. DeAndre Ayton has anchored the paint with poise, strength, and surprising agility. These developments have allowed coaching staff to envision how, or perhaps more importantly, when James will re-enter the lineup. According to insiders, the Lakers plan to use James as a tactical asset this season rather than an all-purpose workhorse. His minutes could fluctuate depending on matchups, and his role could shift between facilitator, floor general, scorer, and secondary option depending on who shares the court with him. Behind closed doors, film sessions have taken on a new level of depth. Players have studied how James communicates on defense, how he calls out rotations, and how he positions himself during off-ball possessions. These subtle elements, often unnoticed by casual viewers, are the reasons he has been able to remain elite even as his body undergoes changes. "His timing is what makes him dangerous," said assistant coach Brian Weaver. "You can defend his speed, but you can't defend his anticipation." Weaver has also demonstrated to younger players how James manipulates defenders with his eyes, using hesitations and angled passes to open pockets of space. Austin Reaves admitted he started mimicking some of those techniques after watching James in last week's practice. The coaching staff believes that even if James only plays limited minutes at first, his influence will extend far beyond the box score. The team already trusts his instincts, and that trust could translate to greater cohesion when the stakes rise late in games. Redick has emphasized that whoever plays alongside James must be prepared to adapt, communicate effectively, and maintain spacing. Those principles are being reinforced daily through scrimmages and tactical drills. The message is clear: prepare as if he is playing, even if the decision remains uncertain. Off the court, the anticipation has seeped into the city. Local sports radio stations have been flooded with callers debating whether James should debut immediately or wait for Sunday. Some longtime fans argue that his return should be momentous and carefully timed, while others believe that playing even limited minutes would serve as a psychological boost for both the team and the crowd. Sports analysts have begun breaking down potential rotations, arguing that the Lakers could run a dual-point setup with James and Dončić, using Ayton as a screen-and-roll pivot while Reaves and other shooters spread the floor. The idea of James orchestrating offense while Dončić positions himself as an off-ball weapon has excited supporters, who see parallels to previous championship-winning structures. Merchandise sales have already surged, particularly for jerseys featuring the number 6 alongside anniversary patches celebrating James' 23rd season. Bars around the city have announced watch parties for both upcoming games, with fans preparing to witness what could become a milestone in NBA history. Even youth basketball leagues across Los Angeles have incorporated James-themed challenges into their training sessions, encouraging young players to practice passes and court vision inspired by the four-time NBA champion. James himself has stayed focused and disciplined during this time. His approach has been calm, strategic, and quietly intense. He has spent his downtime in recovery sessions, utilizing hot and cold contrast baths, controlled breathing cycles, and targeted muscle therapy designed to counter nerve inflammation. Insiders say he has also revisited his personal stretching protocols, originally developed during his years in Miami, adapting them to accommodate his hip and back discomfort. His mental preparation has also been evident. Before leaving the practice facility each night, he watches film from previous seasons, comparing how he moved before the injuries and analyzing how he can adjust his angles and timing moving forward. "I'm not trying to rewind the clock," he said to coaching staff. "I'm trying to move it in the right direction." That mindset has deeply impressed his teammates, particularly younger players who have witnessed his professionalism firsthand. Reeves commented that, "Every time he speaks, it feels like we're getting a masterclass." Similarly, Ayton described James' presence as a blueprint for how to compete every day, even when you're not at 100% physically. The Lakers' front office continues to monitor the situation carefully. While they would love to have James on the court Tuesday night, they are prepared to wait if necessary. Their long-term vision remains the same. A healthy roster in April and May is worth more than a rushed return in November. Discussions within the organization indicate that James could play limited stints initially, 5 to 7 minutes per quarter, before gradually build toward a full workload. There is also talk of using him as a situational defender, especially in close games, where his instincts for reading plays could prove invaluable. Another consideration is his role in the locker room. Even when he isn't playing, he has been vocal during halftime breaks and film reviews, guiding rotations and pointing out subtle adjustments. Head coach J.J. Redick has referred to him as a coach on the floor, praising his ability to translate complex concepts into effective communication. "The guys respond to him," Redick said. "They listen because he's lived everything we're trying to teach." As the debate continues, fans hold on to one central belief. When LeBron James finally steps onto the court this season, it will not just be the return of a player, it will be the return of a symbol. A symbol of resilience, adaptation, and unwavering passion for the sport. The Lakers have proven they can compete without him, but his presence has the power to elevate them beyond good, and push them toward greatness. All eyes now wait for the decision. Will it be Tuesday? Will it be Sunday? Or will the Lakers wait just a little longer to ensure that their leader is fully ready? Whatever the answer may be, the city of Los Angeles is already preparing for the moment when the lights dim, the crowd rises, and the legendary number 6 walks back onto the hardwood, ready to write the next chapter of Lakers history. As excitement continues to rise around the Los Angeles Lakers, the significance of LeBron James' impending return goes far beyond his performance on the court. It has sparked a broader reflection on how a franchise evolves when its greatest leader prepares to rejoin the mission. Inside the locker room, the atmosphere has transformed into something that resembles a strategic council. Players, coaches, and trainers all contributing to a unified vision centered on maximizing efficiency. Every practice, every drill, and every moment of communication has become sharper since James arrived back at the facility. Players feel urgency without panic, confidence without complacency. J.J. Redick has been instrumental in this structure, emphasizing that discipline and clarity must remain the foundation of the team, with or without James physically on the court. One of his guiding principles has been simple yet effective. If the Lakers prepare the right way every day, reintroducing James will feel natural. The plan is to avoid treating his return as a disruption and instead frame it as an upgrade that aligns with the identity already being built. Behind the scenes, assistant coaches and performance specialists have been developing tactical variations that incorporate James' strengths without sacrificing the team's rhythm. Reports suggest that the Lakers may experiment with inverted offense strategies, placing Ayton at the high post and allowing James and Dončić to interchange roles as primary initiators. This system could create unusual angles for cutters like Austin Reeves, who thrives in motion without the ball. When defenders collapse toward James' strength at the perimeter, the spacing could open clear lanes for Ayton to roll or slip screens. In addition, the coaching staff has explored a defensive switch-heavy approach, using James' experience to orchestrate adjustments on the fly. Basketball fans know that while age may reduce a player's speed, it often enhances awareness and anticipation. two traits James has mastered throughout his career. The Lakers understand that even if he begins with limited minutes, they can weaponize his intelligence. Redick has emphasized that defense is no longer about physicality alone. It is also about angles, communication, and reaction time. Younger players like Max Christie have been studying James' defensive reads on film, learning when to hedge, when to drop, and how to bait opponents into unfavorable possessions. While strategy remains at the forefront, emotion plays an equally important role. During his first full team session, James reportedly arrived early and greeted every staff member individually. Small gestures like that have left a strong impression across the facility, strengthening the shared belief that this season could become something special. Lakers veterans have said privately that James' presence reignited that championship mentality the franchise has long been known for. It is not just about skill, it is about standards. The younger members of the roster have described the impact as subtle but powerful. They feel an unspoken pressure to perform with maximum effort and focus when James is around. Austin Reeves mentioned that even in casual moments, one glance from James carries weight. "You don't want to disappoint him," Reeves said. "You want to match his energy." That natural leadership has always been one of James' most valuable traits, and now it may be the key that transforms a good Lakers team into a legitimate contender. Sports analysts across the country have begun reassessing the Lakers' potential. The conversation has shifted from uncertainty to possibility. ESPN and local LA networks have hosted debates over whether this roster might quietly be one of the most balanced lineups James has ever had since his arrival in California. With Dončić providing high-level playmaking, Ayton contributing strength and size inside, and Reeves growing into a reliable two-way guard, some experts believe Los Angeles could develop into a nightmare matchup come playoff time. Even opposing scouts have acknowledged that defending a team with James and Dončić orchestrating offense simultaneously will require complex adjustments. They can bend defenses in two directions at once, one Western Conference assistant coach reportedly said. Meanwhile, the Lakers management is thinking ahead. Sources indicate that the front office could adjust trade strategies if James proves healthy and capable of sustaining consistent minutes. More flexibility may open around the deadline, particularly involving bench depth, spacing, and versatile defensive wings. James is aware of this possibility too, and he has been in quiet communication with team executives regarding long-term vision. Still, amid the planning and excitement, the issue of health remains at the center of every discussion. The Lakers are being extremely cautious with James' sciatica, monitoring his hip and lower back closely. The medical staff has introduced innovative therapies designed to reduce tension along the nerve pathways. Specialized stretching techniques and controlled movement practices have become central to his recovery. The trainers have also begun using active neuromuscular re-education, a method that teaches the body to activate muscles more effectively after injury. James has accepted these treatments with humility, acknowledging that age changes how recovery must be handled. "You don't push through everything," he said. "Sometimes you adjust, find better solutions, and keep moving forward." His words reflect a mindset that resonates deeply with both fans and teammates. They understand that his return won't be defined solely by physical performance. It will represent wisdom, resilience, and mastery of adaptation. Even if his minutes are limited early on, his influence has already begun to shape the season. Inside Los Angeles, conversations about legacy have intensified. Fans have started discussing where James' 23rd season could rank in NBA history. Some believe that if he manages to remain productive and leads the Lakers on a deep playoff run, it might stand as one of his greatest accomplishments. Others believe that simply reaching this milestone could define a new standard for longevity, professionalism, and dedication. Billboards around the city have already begun celebrating the moment, featuring images of James alongside messages welcoming him back. A prominent mural featuring him in his Lakers jersey was recently updated to mark the occasion, drawing crowds of fans who have come to take photos and share messages of support. For many supporters, witnessing his continued career feels like being alive during a pivotal era in sports. They see him not only as an athlete but as a symbol of perseverance. That connection between player and city has grown stronger each year, and it now stands on the verge of a new chapter. Meanwhile, preparation continues both on and off the floor. The Lakers' film department has been compiling data on how opposing defenses respond when James enters the lineup. Patterns are studied, comparisons drawn to previous seasons, and predictive scenarios built around pick-and-roll configurations. The team's analytics group has also been modeling potential minute distributions that consider both fitness and tactical needs. Their projections suggest that a gradual integration, starting with short bursts, would be most effective. In those moments, they believe James could provide leadership, stabilize transitional stretches of games, and allow Dončić to rest strategically. The coaching staff is also considering position fluidity, with some chatter about James operating as a point forward, a stretch 4, or even a small ball 5 in late-game defensive formations. That kind of flexibility could unlock entirely new dimensions within the Lakers' playbook. As the next decision approaches, one truth has become unmistakably clear: the Lakers are preparing with purpose. Every voice inside the franchise speaks about unity, readiness, and shared belief. Whether James plays this week or next, the foundation has been set, and the opportunity ahead feels enormous. Los Angeles waits, watches, and believes. The moment is coming. And when it does, the echoes of purple and gold will rise, ready to welcome their leader back to the floor where legacy is built, one possession at a time. The growing momentum around the rumored partnership between the star player and the city's franchise began to influence public perception on a larger scale. Sports networks filled their schedules with panel discussions, inviting former players, analysts, and financial advisors to speculate on how a potential move could reshape the competitive landscape. Local businesses started preparing for a possible economic boost, projecting an increase in tourism, merchandise sales, and stadium attendance. Even individuals who had never previously shown interest in basketball began paying attention, simply because the story felt larger than sports. It felt like witnessing history unfold in real time, driven not by certainty but by possibility. Behind the scenes, agents and legal representatives worked with extreme caution. Every draft document was reviewed, reworded, and cross-checked multiple times. Nothing was left to chance because one leak could disrupt the entire strategy. The key figures involved reportedly met in private locations to avoid unwanted attention. One source claimed that even restaurants were booked under false names to prevent reporters from tracking their meetings. Whether it was fully accurate or not, the public liked to believe it. To them, secrecy meant significance, and silence meant that something big was coming soon. That belief alone fueled interest. Meanwhile, the player began training with added intensity, as if preparing not only for a season but for a reinvention. He posted cryptic workout footage on social media. No explanations, no captions, just focused movement and determination. Millions watched and interpreted every second, trying to decode hidden messages. Some believed he looked stronger than ever. Others insisted his eyes revealed a new mindset, ready for a fresh chapter. Adidas, Nike, and several other brands discreetly inquired about potential marketing partnerships. Companies sensed what fans felt, that something monumental was approaching. Within the city, a wave of optimism started growing. Children began wearing custom jerseys with his name printed alongside the franchise they hoped he would join. Street mural artists painted tributes on building walls, capturing his signature moves and iconic moments. Some bars even introduced themed drinks and snacks named after his highlights. Though nothing was official, it already felt like his energy was woven into the city's culture. One local teacher shared that her students seemed more engaged in class just because they believed their hometown was entering a new era. However, not everyone was convinced. Certain commentators warned that expectations might be rising too quickly. They argued that relying on one individual to transform a team could create pressure both inside and outside the locker room. Veteran players reportedly voiced mixed feelings in private conversations. They respected his talent but wondered how leadership roles would shift if he arrived. Would the team's current strategies be restructured? Would existing chemistry be disrupted? These questions remained unanswered, but they lingered in the background like quiet echoes. Still, the possibility of witnessing greatness outweighed the uncertainty for many. Season ticket inquiries increased dramatically, even though no official statement had been made. The franchise's social media engagement soared to record numbers. Fans weren't just waiting, they were preparing. Some practiced celebratory chants at home, just in case the announcement came. Others produced digital mock-ups of what the team's new lineup could look like. Online forums overflowed with debates, predictions, and analysis of hypothetical scenarios. A city and a fanbase were collectively dreaming. As all this unfolded, the player remained composed in public. He attended charity events, signed autographs for young fans, and answered every question with courtesy, never revealing more than necessary. Analysts admired his discipline, saying that his restraint protected negotiations from unnecessary pressure. Yet they also noticed that he seemed more introspective than usual. The spotlight was dazzling, but his mind appeared focused on something beyond fame, perhaps on legacy, purpose, or responsibility. Negotiations reportedly entered a decisive stage during a late-night call that involved multiple stakeholders. Financial projections were compared to long-term community impact. Would the team invest more in youth programs? Could local infrastructure benefit from increased visibility? These topics took center stage, surprising those who assumed it was only about salary and contract length. It became clear that this move could symbolize more than a transfer. It might represent a new model of how athletes can influence cities beyond the court. By this point, the story had surpassed the boundaries of sports reporting. Economists, urban planners, and cultural critics joined the conversation, each offering perspectives on what the future could hold. Newspaper headlines suggested that the city could become a beacon of modern sports culture, where athletic excellence and community growth coexist. Yet until signatures were placed on paper, everything remained a puzzle with missing pieces. Fans continued to follow every update, each believing that the imminent outcome was worth waiting for. Optimism blended with suspense, and every day felt like the night before a major celebration, where anticipation was a kind of electricity in the air. Among the city's journalists, investigative work became a sport of its own. They analyzed footage frame by frame, searching for clues in body language and indirect remarks. Even a raised eyebrow during a press conference became headline material. One reporter claimed to have seen him near the stadium late at night, while another insisted he was scouting neighborhoods for a future residence. No confirmation ever came, but with each rumor, curiosity intensified. People no longer asked if he would come, they simply wondered when. As the buzz surrounding the potential move grew louder, the franchise began to experience a noticeable transformation internally. Staff members noticed that meetings were becoming more strategic, more forward-thinking. Plans were drawn up not only for basketball operations but also for city engagement, fan experience, and media expansion. The organization reviewed its digital infrastructure, scouting potential updates to streaming content and behind-the-scenes documentaries. Their intention was clear. If the player arrived, they wanted to be prepared to elevate the brand to a global level. Some reported that the franchise studied the success of past superstar acquisitions around the league, analyzing their impact on cultural relevance, ticket sales, and international reach. Every decision seemed aligned with a much bigger vision. Meanwhile, sponsors sensed opportunity. Several corporate partners began quietly proposing new advertising campaigns centered on possibility, not confirmation. Billboards emerged across the city featuring bold phrases like, "Something big is coming," or "Get ready for the future." None mentioned the player directly, but the intention was evident. Fans shared photos of these billboards online, and speculation intensified. The mystery created excitement, and the excitement created momentum. Even rival teams seemed to notice the shift, watching carefully as the franchise positioned itself for a potentially historic acquisition. The pressure on the player increased day by day. Cameras followed him more closely than ever during warm-ups and interviews. Journalists asked cleverly phrased questions, hoping he might accidentally reveal his thoughts. Yet he remained incredibly composed, consistently redirecting attention to the present season. His ability to maintain privacy displayed a level of professionalism that further increased respect among fans and analysts. It became clear that whatever decision he ultimately made, he was thinking beyond himself, considering the team dynamic, the community impact, and the legacy he might leave behind. In the locker room, conversations evolved. Some current players welcomed the idea of partnering with such a superstar, imagining how his presence could open the floor and create new offensive strategies. Others wondered how their own roles might shift. Would they receive fewer minutes? Would expectations increase dramatically? Leadership discussions became frequent, as veterans tried to maintain a sense of unity. They knew a move of this scale could elevate the team, but it could also create divisions if not handled wisely. Maintaining balance became a priority. Outside the arena, the city felt more alive. Sports bars organized watch parties not just for games, but for pre-game interviews and post-game analysis of any subtle clues. Street vendors began selling mock jerseys with his name and number, despite no official confirmation. Tourists started visiting the stadium more frequently, asking about potential tours and future memorabilia. Children talked about him at school as if he were already part of their hometown, drawing pictures of him wearing the team's colors. The phenomenon was no longer merely sports-related, it had evolved into a cultural movement driven by hope and imagination. Negotiations, according to insiders, focused heavily on long-term commitment. The franchise reportedly wanted to ensure that if he joined, he would become more than just a player. He would become a face of the city. Talks included community outreach initiatives, leadership programs for youth, investment in local facilities, and an increased presence in national media. His team of advisors evaluated every detail with precision, ensuring that expectations aligned with his personal values. The process moved slowly but deliberately, as no one wanted to miss any essential consideration. Throughout this time, sports analysts began drafting potential lineup combinations on live television. Charts, statistics, and simulations filled screens as experts debated how his skill set would influence the team's play style. Would the offense center around his versatility? Could younger players benefit from his mentorship? Some believed he could elevate their defensive capabilities as well, not just through his own performance but by inspiring others to push their limits. Every angle was examined, every possibility weighed. Yet despite all the excitement, the player understood that the weight of such expectations could feel overwhelming. In quieter moments, he reportedly confided in close associates about the pressure that accompanies greatness. It wasn't fear, but rather awareness. He knew that his decision would affect not only his career but the lives of countless fans and young athletes who saw him as a role model. That responsibility shaped his mindset, pushing him to make a choice that aligned with his long-term purpose rather than just short-term gain. Local media outlets began preparing for every possible outcome. They drafted headlines for both confirmation and rejection. Some even rehearsed breaking news segments in advance. Every producer, every reporter, every editor understood that when the moment arrived, it would draw national attention instantly. Coverage plans expanded, special interviews were requested, camera crews were assigned to key locations, and broadcasters practiced their opening lines. It was as if an invisible countdown had begun. Everyone simply waited for the clock to strike. Toward the end of the week, unexpected information surfaced suggesting that meetings had reached a crucial stage. Rumors indicated that both sides were close to finalizing terms, although nothing was official. Whispers of mutual respect filled online forums. Fans sensed a turning point, but no one knew whether it would arrive through a press conference, a viral post, or a surprise appearance at the stadium. All they could do was wait, and hope that their dream would soon become reality. The atmosphere felt charged with anticipation, like the final seconds before a game-winning shot, where silence falls across the arena and time seems to pause. In those moments of rising tension, it became clear that this story was not only about basketball, it was about belief. A belief that one player could inspire a movement, uplift a city, and rewrite what a franchise could represent. Whether he would officially join or not, his influence was already being felt. And somewhere quiet, somewhere far from the noise, the final decision began to take shape. As the energy around the organization continued to build, something fascinating began to unfold within the team's culture. Veteran players became more vocal in training sessions, increasing their intensity as though preparing for something larger than the season itself. Coaches noticed that practices were sharper, communication improved, and even conditioning drills carried a higher sense of urgency. It felt like the group was collectively anticipating a shift, and they wanted to be ready both mentally and physically. The coaching staff focused on refining positional versatility, experimenting with new rotations, and crafting offensive sets that could seamlessly adjust if the superstar eventually joined. Players ran full-court simulations, emphasizing spacing, timing, and adaptability. Every drill seemed to echo one idea: be prepared for opportunity. In the locker room, the atmosphere became more focused than ever. Even off days were filled with film sessions and voluntary workouts. Younger players sought advice from veterans, eager to understand how to maintain consistency when the spotlight grows brighter. The veterans, in turn, reminded them of the importance of humility and discipline, emphasizing that true success begins with preparation before the world is watching. The team mission shifted subtly. It wasn't just about surviving the season. It was about evolving into a team worthy of championship conversation, with or without any high-profile arrival. They wanted to prove that their identity was already strong, and any addition would only enhance an already established foundation. Team chemistry deepened. Bonding activities were quietly organized, including group dinners, late-night film review sessions, and shooting challenges after practice. Coaches believed that if their connection was strong enough, they could handle any adjustments smoothly. Leadership roles were clarified, but egos were checked at the door. The message was clear. No matter who walked into the locker room, unity would remain the heart of the franchise. The coaching staff reminded everyone that successful teams are built not only on talent, but trust, and that trust doesn't form during the spotlight, but long before it shines. Fans began to notice subtle differences during games. Defensive rotations were sharper, ball movement was quicker, and the bench showed greater enthusiasm after every big play. Social media lit up with highlight clips, praising the team's improved rhythm and discipline. Basketball analysts remarked that the team now looked more mature and cohesive, even though many of them were still young. Their confidence grew with every win, and the idea of potentially adding a legendary player only added fuel to their ambition. The franchise recognized this and doubled down on player development, making sure their internal growth would not be overshadowed by external expectations. While the city continued to dream, insiders reported that discussions had reached a key strategic stage. The players' representatives wanted clarity on how the team planned to balance star power with long-term development. They believed that success should be built to last, not just assembled for a single season. The team responded with detailed plans that outlined how mentorship, analytics, and roster stability could be combined to form a multi-year vision. Their approach impressed not only the player but the entire league, proving that they were serious about building something sustainably powerful. The coaching staff studied countless game scenarios, involving every possible lineup combination. They considered how his arrival could elevate both pace and efficiency, particularly in fast break opportunities and half-court spacing. They practiced pick-and-roll variations, off-ball screens, and transition sequences that featured advanced movement patterns. Their intention was not simply to accommodate him, but to maximize him. This level of preparation earned respect throughout the franchise, as everyone understood that greatness requires foresight. As anticipation grew, several current players expressed openness in interviews, stating that any major addition would be welcomed. They emphasized that competition drives excellence and that pressure is a privilege. Their comments resonated with fans, reinforcing a growing belief that this team was built for big moments. The city rallied behind their mentality, praising the team's maturity and resilience. It was no longer just a storyline, it was a mission shared by players, coaches, staff, and supporters alike. Analysts pointed out that a potential partnership between young talent and a proven superstar could become one of the most intriguing dynamics in the league. They suggested that his leadership could elevate their mental toughness, especially during close games and playoff scenarios. Conversely, his arrival could benefit from the team's youthful energy and modern playing style. Their blend of experience and development created a rare combination, one that could rewrite competitive balance throughout the conference. Television networks prepared special segments examining how this fusion could alter the postseason landscape. As the week progressed, whispers emerged that a decision might be approaching sooner than expected. Some reporters indicated that internal discussions had shifted from if to how and when. Training sessions reportedly took on an even more intense tone, suggesting that the team sensed something was coming. The organization scheduled media availability for several upcoming dates, but carefully avoided revealing the topic. This fueled speculation even further. Fans began marking their calendars, waiting for any hint of confirmation. Despite the growing attention, the team maintained its disciplined approach. Their mindset remained grounded in the message that had shaped them all season: focus on the moment. Coaches reminded everyone that outside noise cannot control performance. The only controllable element is effort. And so, under the bright lights of the gym and the growing pressure of expectation, players continued to run drills, sharpen strategies, and play with increasing unity. Whether or not the superstar would soon walk onto the court, the team had already embraced a powerful truth: true transformation begins long before the world sees it. And within that truth, hope continued to grow, waiting for its chance to rise fully into the spotlight. As anticipation reached its peak, the organization understood that the moment was approaching when speculation would finally give way to revelation. Reporters gathered outside the training facility while cameras rolled continuously, ready to capture any sign of movement. Even the parking lot became a focal point of interest, with fans hoping to glimpse a familiar vehicle arriving. Social media swirled with theories ranging from cryptic posts by players to supposed insider leaks from anonymous accounts. Yet despite all the noise, the franchise stayed quiet and composed, carefully guarding its plan. The silence felt strategic, almost poetic, as if the team wanted the eventual announcement to carry maximum impact, like a perfectly timed buzzer beater that echoes long after it falls through the net. Inside the arena, preparations intensified. Spotlight tests were performed. Media platforms synchronized schedules for a synchronized release. Staff rehearsed entrance sequences and arranged seating for what appeared to be an upcoming press event. A large backdrop featuring the team's colors was placed behind a podium near center court, fueling even more speculation. Many believed that the moment was no longer a question of if, but how soon. Season ticket sales climbed dramatically, and merchandise pre-orders skyrocketed faster than anyone expected. The energy was reaching a level rarely seen, even for a franchise with a rich history of monumental announcements. Meanwhile, players continued their disciplined approach, but the air around them vibrated with rising excitement. Some players were seen staying late after practice, working on chemistry drills and repetitions that could align well with a new addition. The coaching staff began integrating subtle adjustments to the playbook, not revealing their full intentions, but clearly preparing for a dynamic shift. There was an unspoken understanding that preparation is the best way to welcome opportunity. Even during scrimmages, communication grew sharper, sets were executed with precision, and leadership responsibilities were shared more fluidly. It was evident that the team was no longer just training for games, they were training for destiny. Local businesses also felt the momentum. Restaurants near the arena prepared special menus themed around the city's basketball hopes. Sports apparel shops extended their hours and held raffles for limited edition items. Tourist demand increased too, with travel agencies offering packages that combined hotel stays, stadium tours, and potential game day experiences. The buzz became part of the city's identity, influencing conversations at schools, workplaces, and community centers. Children began imitating the players' moves on playgrounds. The city wasn't simply waiting for news, it was living inside a story, evolving each day with growing expectation. Media coverage expanded nationally. Analysts discussed the potential impact on both conference standings and league legacy. Some experts claimed that if the player officially joined, the team could instantly become a championship contender. Others warned that expectations could turn into pressure if not managed carefully. Yet almost all agreed on one thing: his arrival would reshape the narrative of the season across the entire league. Talk shows debated how his leadership could elevate young stars and balance the energy of the roster. Former players weighed in too, expressing excitement about the possibility of witnessing a generational shift in real time. Rumors eventually surfaced that discussions had reached their final phase. According to unnamed sources, the player had met with key figures within the organization to review long-term plans. The team reportedly outlined a structured approach not just for title contention, but for legacy building and city engagement. They emphasized culture, mentorship, and durability. Not just trophies, but transformation. This deeply resonated with the player, aligning with his own values about leadership and purpose. It was said that he appreciated the way the franchise thought beyond the court, envisioning a future defined by growth, connection, and influence that would extend far beyond basketball. Late one evening, something changed. Activity inside the facility increased. Lights stayed on longer than usual, and meeting rooms filled with decision makers. The doors remained closed, but everyone watching sensed that history was in motion. A message began to spread across social media, brief but powerful: "Stand by for tomorrow." The post was shared thousands of times within minutes. Fans stayed up late refreshing their feeds, hoping for a leak, a hint, or a clue. But nothing more appeared. The night ended silently, with the city holding its breath. The next morning, media crews arrived long before sunrise. Reporters stood ready with prepared monologues, waiting for confirmation. The arena looked different, almost ceremonial. Staff members walked with quiet determination, and the podium near center court now had microphones in place. Fans began gathering outside the gates, holding signs and chanting with excitement. The sky above the city had cleared, as though nature itself was preparing to spotlight the moment. What happened next would not only mark a new chapter in the franchise's history, but also answer the hopes of thousands. Everyone knew that the time had come for the silence to break. The world pressed record. Heartbeats quickened. The doors opened, and as footsteps echoed toward the stage, the city stood still, ready to welcome what could become the beginning of a new era. The atmosphere felt electric, as if every moment until now had been leading to this exact point. And though no words were spoken yet, the message felt loud enough to fill the entire arena. Something unforgettable was about to unfold. Whether it would be officially confirmed or still left to speculation, one thing was undeniable: this franchise, this city, and these fans were ready. Ready not only for news, but for greatness. And in that stillness, as cameras focused and anticipation peaked, the future stood only a statement away, a statement that could change everything.